Hello and welcome to my world of crochet. My name is Dina and today I'm here with you for another yarn talk video. And as always, we cannot talk yarn without me having my faithful mug of tea here with me today, which today is the Nimvik's Tots loose blend tea that I bought not so long ago, last time when I was in the city. It's a nice, fresh blend of tea with rose and cornflower petals. And it also has, I do believe it's raisins and a flavor of pineapple. So it's just this mild, fresh, fruity taste, which seems really, really fitting. Basically, I could drink it all year round, but it also feels really fitting here in the summer because it has really become summer here in the Netherlands. Right now, it's like, I don't know actually how warm it is right now, but in this afternoon, we're gonna hit somewhere around 85, 90 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's like around 30-ish, maybe 32-ish degrees Celsius. So it's pretty warm here, and I can feel the fact that we actually don't have an air conditioning, which sounds crazy, but most of the time we really don't need an air conditioning here. So I guess that's kind of how you look at it. But it is summer, the sun is shining. It's been shining for the last couple of weeks. It's not even raining as much as it usually is. It's kind of getting up to a dry season. It's almost drought. But that's not what we're going to talk about. We have lots of yarn to discuss today, or at least lots of progress on my last week, what I've done, and a few other things, some like planning and scheduling and so on. A bit ago, I noticed someone had asked me on one of my giveaway videos, and as you know, I never comment on my giveaway videos, that they really liked my orchid flower, which is here behind, and if I did anything special for it. I am absolutely not a person with green hands, but somehow I managed to keep orchids alive and I managed to keep them flowering. So the thing is, if they need light, but they don't need direct sunlight, but they need enough light. And then they don't need a lot of water. Basically, what I try to do is I try to water them once a week. And how I water them is basically that I fill them with water all the way to the edge and let them stand for like half an hour. Then I empty all the water out. I usually throw that into a water can. I use that remaining water to water the rest of my plants. And then that's it, basically. That's it. I make sure that if they, so right now, this orchid isn't standing optimally for light, which means that once it's done flowering, and it has had a rest period, if I don't place it back in the window or close to the window, I usually actually have that one in the kitchen window, which is like over here, then it won't start flowering again. It went 2 years on without actually coming with any flowers, and I realized it was due to the lack of light, nothing else. So that's it. There's no secrets to it. I have a small one right here, and as you can see, we are about to get a new branch of orchids. Right now, this has been standing in the window. And again, I just insert enough water for it to fill the brim here, and I do it once a week. And it's not gonna be a big deal if you do it, like if you skip a single day during the 7-day cycle. But you know, like just fill them up, let them set for half an hour, and you're pretty good to go afterwards, basically. Like, you know, empty them for the rest of the water, use that for the rest of your plants, or if you have anything outside that needs water, it works fine. That's basically how I do it. So I just wanted to say, I noticed your comment, and here is how I do my orchids for those that's interested. But we are here to talk about yarn, and two of my projects got definitely more love than two of my other projects. I have 4 going on right now. And the first project we should talk about today is my baby blanket. And I admit this baby blanket did not get very much love the past week. Simply because I focused on other projects. So yeah, we barely did anything. In fact, let's see if I can even, I should have it, but I can't even, oh yeah, here it is. this is my start of the round. The blue is where I ended last time. I didn't watch a bunch of TV this week, which is basically, this is mainly my TV project. Because, you know, I only did like 5 shells. And it's just been busy, right? And we postponed some of the TV series I normally watch with my partner, and therefore I haven't really done a lot on this blanket. So it's probably gonna get a bit more love this week. At least that's my plan. It might also be that it doesn't happen. I'll explain more about that later. So actually, there is no real update on it, except, well, I made 5 more shells. But it's still a nice size, and yeah, not much to say about it. I'm using my 4.5mm crochet hook. In hindsight, I should probably used a 5 or 5.5mm for the yarn. Again, it's always so easy to be clever in hindsight. I'm using this gorgeous ice yarns. This is like probably like half a skein that's left right now. As you can see, it has this lovely sort of speckled in the white. Once it's about 1 meter in width, I will be adding a couple of rows of pink, and then afterwards I will be adding a few more rows of the white to kind of finish it off. And that's this blanket. And so far what I'm going to do is probably just going to finish up this one, and I'll see how big it is. But again, as you have noticed, I haven't done much for it this week. And it's basically because, as I told you, I prioritized a bit other projects, and there is nothing wrong in that. We all have different feelings and motivations for doing various things. So I've been working mainly on 2 things, and one of the things is the Leaf on Me West, because I really want to finish it up basically. And I am getting pretty close. I did not completely reach my goal. My goal from last week was to crochet. So I've done the back panel already, and I've done the first of the 2 front panels, but I need 1 more. And on the second front panel, I had started last week and done the first 6 rows. And I wanted to do enough rows for it to be at the point where I can start decreasing. That was the goal. I'm missing close to 3 rows, like 2 rows and almost a third, because the third is just like the first few stitches I reached to do, and then I had to stop basically. So the second panel right now is looking like this. It's a bit short, but you know, when I finish the next 3 rows, I can start decreasing for this V-neck that it has, even though that, looking at the other piece, I can see how it's designed. I'm just following the pattern, by the way. The V-neck starts pretty close down here, and it's just like a very short piece, and then it goes straight up again. So I have the other front panel, and I know one end is not woven in, and that's because I realized, and I should even have made the end a bit longer, that I could use it to sew the shoulder piece together with. So I have an unwoven in end. But here you have it, the very long front panel. And here you can see at one side, we have just decreased exactly, and that's for the arm gap. And the other side has this sort of V-neck decrease. But the V-neck decreases is only a bit, so I have like here a stitch marker and here a stitch marker. And this is actually the only place where it's slowly V-shaped decreased, because from this stitch mark and all the way up, it's just one straight line, like on the other side. So yeah, basically, eventually, this is kind of how it's gonna be looking, and the V-neck starts like here. Sorry for the difficult show. So that's kind of how it's going to be. So it's going to be a little bit over the shoulders. That's going to be a little bit drapey. It's very drapey actually. And that's due to the fact that 2 things. The pattern itself is quite drapey. That's just simply the filet kind of stitch that I'm using for these leafy vest. But also it's an oversized vest, so you will find it has to sit a bit loose on you. But yeah, I'm looking forward to have this done, because that means that I will have a vest for the summer, for a colder day when you're like, oh yeah, but you know, I just like something ever extra just to cover my shoulders. And then this is a perfect opportunity to have this. So that was the front panel, and then I still also have the huge back panel. And this is where you really realize that it's oversized, because like when I use the back panel on me, that would be like this, right? So yeah, it's oversized, and it's gonna cover a little bit. It's also a little bit longer, like a single row longer, to give extra coverage on the bottom. So you don't necessarily see a belt should you be wearing it. But the goal is for this lovely leafy vest to, just folding it a bit together here again. But my goal is for this to be, I'm not sure if I can manage to say done next week. That would be awesome. But I am going to finish it up, and then maybe I'm just missing sewing them together. But it would be cool if it's finished. That's kind of the hope, or partial goal, to get that finished up. This would be how much I have left on my third skein, which I have in this plastic bowl just to easier keep track of it. I'm using my 3.5mm crochet hook for this, and of course, as always, for those patterns that I am following where I do have links for them, I have a link for that pattern in the description box down below. It is a hobby pattern, and it's the hobby twister yarn that I'm using. So it's just a straightforward follow the instruction kind of thing pattern. And so far it's been pretty easy. It was a bit intimidating when I started, but honestly, it's not as bad when you do get going. So that's positive, right? Let's see, what do we else have here? We have, of course, the fact that I am working on this pouch, aka clutch kind of thing, which I was working with a double-stranded Mayflower yarn, 100% cotton. This was the type of yarn that I was using for it. This yarn is just an extra skein that I have. Not really sure what I'm going to use the skein for. I might use it for some amigurumi or something like that later, or some other random project. But I have a little bit left of the two skeins, because I've actually managed to finish up the can't talk today. The clutch / mini bag so far that I finished the crocheting part, and this is what I have left of those two skeins. I might have been able to force one more round, but I'm not sure. It could be, but I'm not gonna take the gamble. I'm not gonna play yarn chicken. And I think it has a perfect size. So this is the size right now we have, with 250 gram, with two of these skeins hold together, is what's been done here. And as you can see, it's pretty much done here. I had a place where this yarn had a knot in it, to kind of tie two ends together. I'm sure it might have stopped on the row when they were producing it or something. And I have that here. And it happened to be worked up in a nice way that it fits exactly with the stitch and being on the inside. So when you're looking at it on the outside, you don't barely see it at all. And because I am gonna do a lining in this bag, you won't see it at all once it's done and complete. So that's pretty awesome. So my next step is basically to fix the lining. So I'm going to sew together a lining that's fitting the size here. So I have to cut it still. And the lining I have is made of 100% cotton. I bought that last month. And here we have it. And just to compare, it's just lighter cotton. And I bought a bigger piece of cotton, so I have plenty of lining for future projects should I even make them. And also I have a bit to practice in and so on, because I will have to hand sew this. I don't have a sewing machine. Because, well, mostly the need I have for sewing I can do by hand. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be a big bag maker, but this one has been fun to do, so who knows, maybe a few in the future. Regardless, I am just going to use this lovely lining, and I have a random thread assortment here. So I do believe this thread works well here. This thread was something I found in the local supermarket even. So yeah, sure. Why not have a good assortment of threads? They were cheap. And the thread also works pretty well with this background if you want to use a lighter one to actually sew this one together with. The zipper I'm going to use with is this white one. I should maybe have had a gray or black or something like that, but actually it's gonna be fine because it's just gonna be lighter and lighter and lighter. I think those go okay together. And my next step is basically figuring out how I best possible can do the lining, sew that together, and then sew this with, and then of course attach it all to the bag. So that's this week's project for this. So I kind of hope to have it finished next week, but it also depends a little bit about the west, because somehow I have this bottom feeling that I might prioritize the west a bit more than this clutch. It kind of just depends on how everything goes this week and how much extra spare time I have to work on projects like this. So it's gonna be time will show what's gonna be possible and what not. And you know, that's absolutely all right. You know, like, you know, again, we are doing things to have fun here, and I do enjoy working with this. And exactly this lining I'm going to hand sew it is going to be a challenge, and I like a good challenge. And you know, then I know it for the future. That's the lovely thing. When we learn things, when we craft, we can use this experience and what we learn for future projects to make those projects even more gorgeous. Like, you know, the amazing thing that we can craft stuff out of such simple thing as yarn. And yet yarn isn't simple, you know, it's complex because there are so many different fibers. I think at least the ability to keep learning and keep applying those into your crafts is a pretty amazing thing. What do you think about that? I would be really interested in knowing how you feel about learning new things for your craft and adapting those things you learned for new and future projects. So we have one more thing left. Let me find it. And that thing is this leafy shawl that I am working on. And right now I have done a bit less than a row and a half since last week, because as you now have figured out, what I mainly focused on last week was this clutch bag and the Leaf on Me West. And now we have this piece, which is also this kind of leafy shawl. And it is growing, because you can see that. It's just not growing as fastly anymore. One of the things is mainly due to the size, because that's the downside of these shawls, right? Like, while I really enjoy making shawls, the real downside here is each row you make takes longer and longer and longer and longer and longer. And in the beginning, you're like, oh my God, this is going to be a humongous shawl, because, you know, like, you see how quickly it kind of grows, because, you know, it's still a small area. And then eventually you realize it's probably not going to be as big as you thought, even though it's going to be big enough. But simply due to the fact it's not going as quickly because of the extra row takes so much time. As you can see, this is where I reached, where the marker is. And that's how it's looking right now. I just have this for letting me know what row I reached to when I was working on it since last week. I actually did end up taking this with me for another team of the shows that we're watching. So it did somehow yesterday take a little bit pressure above the blanket, but that's all right. But yeah, this is basically progress, and you can see it's slowly going into this lighter shade of the greens. It is leafy-like pattern, but at the same time, it's a little bit more like maybe diamond shaped. But it's all right. I like it. It's a nice pattern. And as you know, I will be working on making a tutorial for this shawl. So that's something that I'm planning for coming up. When I will have that tutorial ready, kind of depends on many things. It's probably something I will be starting on quite soon, at least for this part of the recording. So you will find that I will probably here in the future likely be working on 2 of these projects simultaneously, because this is not the yarn and the project that I will be using for the tutorial. That yarn I have in my storage upstairs, which is a hobby twister cake called Zen Garden. I showed you that in a couple of yarn talk videos ago, that I made the final decision for which I was going to be using. And first I thought I was going to finish up this one first, but I think a few things in my schedule changed, which makes it possible for me to start recording a bit earlier. And therefore it's better for me just to get started when I have the opportunity to do so. And then just let it go, because, you know, once I did the initial recording and most of that is done, it's just about cranking out those rounds, and then at least it's ready for doing that, you know, and I don't need to be like, oh, but do I actually have time to do it now when I'm ready for that part? But this is the yarn that I'm using right now for this. And as you can see, I am here in this candy striped, I think this looks like candy stripes, candy striped green. The only thing is missing is it's red and white, but except for that, it looks like candy stripes, right? But I'm in this green, lighter green phase, and that goes into this more like minty green, which then goes into this lighter minty green. And you can see there's also a slight striped face here before it goes into this very light mint green. So that's a progress right now of this. This is a cotton cake from Pletta, from Stanley Yarns. And this cotton cake is 250 grams, 100% soft cotton. And it's about, I do believe it's 1,000 meters long. I have the label laying somewhere else. And the reason I took the label off is because I am for this cake working from the outside, because I thought it was nicer to have the dark on the center and then let it go out, so it would be more and more bright. Because that's a benefit with cakes, right? You can work from them either from the outside or from the inside with center pull. This cake even has a center pull. You can see the center pull tab actually laying in here. But I'm not gonna take that one out and ruin the cake. I am right now working slowly off this cake, and we will see how big this shawl is gonna be. And then of course, I probably don't need 2 shawls. So this shawl is either probably gonna be a gift, or I might choose to sell it once done and blocked. Again, time will show. I haven't really made an end decision on where this shawl will be ending up its days. But I know for sure that that it's gonna find a good, nice, forever home. I do believe that was most of the yarn updates I've had. But let's talk a little bit about the coming week, because there are plenty of things happening on this channel this coming week. Right now, I have 2 giveaways going on simultaneously. I know, crazy, right? Therefore, if you haven't entered in those yet, I've linked to both of them here in the description box down below. They are currently active, and should you watch this video after one of them has ended, you will know that, because I will put in brackets closed once it's closed and no longer open for any entries. If it says open, it's still open to enter, and it's still ongoing and running. If you haven't participated in them yet and you would like to participate and enter to win, I do ask you, please, please, please watch that video in full, including all the rules. because that supports me, and it also allows you to know the rules, terms and conditions should you be winning the prize, and it also enables you to know how to actually enter like stuff like that. So on Wednesday we have a new first-hand impression of a book that I bought, and it's the first impression that I make of the book called Every Which Way Crochet Borders. So this is a book containing a bunch of different crochet borders, and I am looking forward to share you my first-hand impression when I opened the box I received with the book inside. That's gonna come out on Wednesday morning my time. Then on Thursday, we are going to draw the winner of the giveaway that started last week, Thursday. So if you haven't entered in that one yet, make sure you're entering, because it would be nice to win yarn, right? On Friday, we have another yarn haul video, and yeah, that yarn haul video is absolutely gorgeous, filled with lots of amazing, lovely cake yarns from Pleta. So stay tuned for that one. Lots of lovely yarn, different yarns that I haven't had in my hands before. And there is also some more neutral yarns from Stenley. And I'm sharing a bit my ideas with some of the projects of these yarns. And yeah, it was really, really a pleasure to unbox it. And I hope you guys will enjoy watching that unboxing video. I think that's it. Yeah, of course, on Monday, I will be back for a new yarn talk video. And yeah, and then next week we have more drawings and more stuff coming up and more giveaways starting, and therefore if you haven't done it yet, do subscribe to this channel and hit that notification button so you get notified whenever I do post new videos. I hope you enjoyed this yarn talk video. Please hit the like button. That even on its own supports me, and yeah, I'm looking forward to read your comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I wish you a great week ahead with lots of happy crafting, whether your craft may be. Take care, and I will see you on Wednesday in the first-hand impression review of this crochet book. Bye.